Hey guys, it's John. Welcome to Blood, Sweat, and Popcorn, where we talk movies. We're in 2021. In this year, I am doing a brand new challenge. I'm watching a movie every day, a new movie every day that I have never seen before. And so far, it's been a blast. So while I fancy myself a bit of a cinephile, I love movies. I have a whole bunch of movies. I own them. I love them. I love talking about them. I realize that there are so many that I have yet to see. And so I wanted to take this challenge and challenge myself to see movies I haven't seen, movies that I've been meaning to see or have been recommended to me or have been on some like top whatever list before. And I'm going to check them out. So I'm going to jump into a whole bunch of different genres throughout the year. Each week will be something different. And the goal is to, by the end of the year, I would have grown my prowess as a movie watcher, a film watcher, and garner a deeper appreciation for films as a whole. So week one, we have animation. Figured why not just start there? I kind of played it safe, and what I mean by that is there's 7 films in this first week, but one of them is Disney, and one of them is a DC animated film. But the rest belong to a world I know very little about, and that is anime. So before we get going, if you like this channel, if you like what I'm doing, if you're liking this whole journey I'm going to be going on, you can do the YouTube thing, the like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. You can follow me on all the social media things or not. That's totally up to you. But let's get started. I will say I will not be posting any spoilers of any kind. I'll just go over, I'll just give a brief synopsis on the film itself and my thoughts on them, and I'll keep it moving. These movies have been out for a long time, so many of them have been seen by many people already. All the same, if you haven't seen them personally, worry not, I will not be that guy to spoil them for you. So let's get started. On day one, we have Only Yesterday. Based on the graphic novel and originally released in 1991, it has since been redubbed in 2016 with the voice acting of Daisy Ridley and Dave Patel. Only Yesterday is our first Studio Ghibli film of the week, but it won't be our last. So it's the story of a girl named Taiko, and is set across 2 different parts of her life. The first part is set in 1982 when she's 27 years old. She's a career girl, she's not married, she lives in the city, and she decides to take a break. She takes a break, she goes to visit some relatives that live out in the country. They have a farm, she decides to go out there, I'm going to work on the farm. So what is spliced in is the other part of the film when Taiko is an 11-year-old, and it's set in 1966. And that's about her growing up, learning about life, learning about making friends, listening to her parents, her older sisters, going through puberty, dealing with boys. And it's a very candid look at how young girls deal with, their bodies growing and navigating childhood. This was a great film to start the week with, to really start the year with. It has amazing animation, it looks beautiful. The voice acting is really, really well done. And it's got a great universal story to it. I feel a lot of people can relate to it. It's currently available right now on HBO Max. I give Only Yesterday an A+. So next up we have our entry from Disney, and that is Finding Dory. I remember thoroughly enjoying Finding Nemo when it came out, and really enjoying the character of Dory, voiced by Ellen DeGeneres, because she's really sweet and caring, but she's kind of silly because she has the short-term memory loss. For some reason, when her own film came out, this film in 2016, it passed right by me. I saw that it was coming out, I just never got around to seeing it. But I'm glad I saw it. The story is a bit repetitive and a little messy, but it's still a fun movie to watch. It's not as fun as Finding Nemo was, if I'm being honest. We meet some new characters that are fun and interesting. My favorite is like the main sidekick she picks up, which is this surly, grumpy old octopus voiced by Ed O'Neill. But this movie, it didn't blow me away. It was good, but it didn't like win me over and wow me. And like I said, it was a bit messy, narratively speaking, but it was very beautiful to look at. Like Pixar, they know what they're doing for sure. And obviously, it's currently on Disney Plus. I give Finding Dory a B. My third film for day 3 was Spirited Away. Holy shit. I mean, holy shit. Like, whoa. Released in 2001, another one I missed. This was a beautiful journey. This was a great film. Holy crap, man. It is another entry from Studio Ghibli. And I can't believe I waited so long to watch it. I'm kind of ashamed of myself. Like, dude, this was great. This was a good movie. I finally understand all the no-face and the Yubaba, cosplay and artwork that's been everywhere for almost 20 plus years now. I wish I found this film earlier in my life. It really moved me when I saw this movie. Like, truly. I feel it's a great segue from, American animated features and introducing audiences to what Japan can make. The story is pretty rich, but it's simple. It's not over convoluted. It's a very simple story. A young girl gets whisked away into the spirit world. I won't divulge how, because like I said, I'm not going to give you any spoilers. And she starts working in this spirit bathhouse where spirits come to rest, I guess. So there's like ghosts and creatures and just all kinds of stuff. Fun things for the animators to draw. Like, it's just full of rich, interesting things to look at. And because the main girl is a human, she gets kind of crapped on by people, by this other spirits. She's seen as lesser than, maybe even a little dangerous, just because she's a human. But like I said, there are so many great characters, great colors, set pieces. Like, the animation's on point here. It is a remarkably beautiful film. This is not a film to miss. Go see Spirited Away immediately. It's currently available on HBO Max, and Spirited Away, it gets an A+. Next up, we have 1995's Ghost in the Shell. So Ghost in the Shell is definitely the most adult film on my list. It has an R rating, is full of blood and violence and nudity. But that's not what Ghost in the Shell is all about, though. It's a cyberpunk movie set in 2029. It's part of a franchise. I didn't know that until I started watching it and learning more about it. Based on a manga or manga. It's manga, isn't it? Sorry if I said manga and that's wrong. I'm new here, okay? I'm sorry. So the manga was published in the late 80s, early 90s, and was finally adapted into this film that came out in 1995. And there's been more films that have come out after that, including a remake that wasn't too well received. We're not here for that movie. We're here for this movie. So Ghost in the Shell has a pretty fun blend of aesthetic and substance. It's this pretty cool fusion of like Blade Runner and the Terminator and the Matrix. You can see how, if you're a fan of the Matrix films, you can see how this movie influenced those filmmakers to make the Matrix movies, for sure. So in this world, people can be augmented to have like cyberkinetic stuff added to their bodies, and they're like half robot, half human. It's pretty cool. It's pretty wild. But because of this advanced technology, it gives rise to sentient AI. And it's this sentient AI that causes, political dissent and class violence. And it's like the driving, engine of the movie itself. The story wasn't the greatest story I've ever heard before. It was kind of okay. But the movie itself was well drawn and fun to look at, fun to watch, for sure. If you like anime, if you like the Matrix movies, maybe, if you like sci-fi and, Blade Runner, RoboCop and all those kinds of sci-fi movies, Judge Dredd, you should take a look at Ghost in the Shell, the original Ghost in the Shell. I think you'll get a kick out of it, for sure. I rented it on Vudu, but I think it's also on Amazon. I'm going to give Ghost in the Shell a B. All right, so we're in the back half now. My next film is 1988's My Neighbor Totoro. So this is a very highly revered film, and I saw that this one, as well as Spirited Away, were already on many like top animated films of all time lists. And so I had to include it here. I had to see it. I had to see what all the fuss was about. And it's pretty good. It's very good, actually. It's another Studio Ghibli film, and its beauty lies in its simplicity. It's not a really complex film like a few others. It's very to the point. It's essentially a children's story brought to life on screen, and it's done so well. So a dad and his two daughters move into a country home away from the city to be near the hospital where their mother, the daughter's mother, is currently at because she's sick. So they want to be near her where she's at. Eventually, the two little girls start seeing spirits. They see spirits when they get to the house. They see little, small, black, dust-like spirits that they run away from the light, and they're like, "What is that?" And soon enough, the little daughter, the little sister, sees Totoro, this forest spirit, and it's this big, huge, honking, big guy. And her older sister at first can't see it either. Her dad can't see it. And we see that there are many spirits in the forest, like Totoro. And that's like a theme of this film is, the forest and the environment. A term I recently learned about when researching these films is a term called animism. And animism is essentially the belief, the idea that everything has a spirit or some sort of energy attached to it. And that's what this movie is about. It's about spirit and cohesiveness and unity. Like I said, I won't go over the whole plot and give out spoilers, but this film was very fun and family oriented and sweet to watch. The closeness of the family, of the forest, of everything is on display here. And like I said, it's, with no spoilers, the plot's very simple. There's not a lot that goes on, but that's okay. For this type of story, for this type of message and theme, the simplicity, like I said, is in its favor. It's definitely a superb film, not just for children. It's for everybody. Everyone can get something out of My Neighbor Totoro. I firmly believe that. Please go see it. Very good. It's currently available also on HBO Max. I think the whole, or not the whole, but a lot of the showcase from Studio Ghibli is currently on HBO Max. So if you have HBO Max, there you go. I encourage everyone to watch it. For my money, My Neighbor Totoro gets an A. Okay, we're almost done. We have two more left. Up next is another Studio Ghibli film, and that's Princess Mononoke. It was originally released in 1997 in Japan and the United States in 1999, and I didn't see it until now, this couple days ago. Princess Mononoke was another gem that it slipped right by me. I've heard of it before. I've seen the poster. People in some of my circles have mentioned it before, but I just never saw it. And wow, this was a great one. I've been lucky. This whole week has been full of great films, and Princess Mononoke is definitely no exception. So the term Mononoke is not a name, but it's actually rather an expression. It's this term for spirits, good, bad, or other, essentially, that inhabit other things. Case in point, there are demons and spirits that inhabit animals in this movie. There are a lot of animals in this movie. Like a lot. And honestly, I wasn't sure what to make of this film when I first saw it. But the more it sat with me when I finished it, the more I reveled in it and sat with it, I really appreciated what it was trying to do. I really appreciated its intelligence, its message, and its overall just connection between the factions of different people or groups rather that are in this film. And of course, it's yet another beautiful film. Everything is tied up together very nicely. It all really ties together. It flows very well. It's very well paced. It's a bit on the longer side. It's over 2 hours, but I still wouldn't say don't watch it for that reason. It's paced very well. Story here is that there's this warrior prince in one village, and he fights a demon. He gets his arm like damaged and injured during the battle, and it becomes infected with this spirit. It gives the prince like super strength, but it's gonna kill him eventually. So he has to go travel across the lands to find. Eventually, he finds out he has to find this forest spirit. Are you seeing a theme here with some of the Japanese films? Protect the planet, folks. So eventually, it comes around. He has to go find this forest spirit in hopes that the forest spirit will be able to remove the curse from his arm and he can not die and everything's great. And on his journey, he comes across many different groups of people and animals, and they're all at war with each other, or they have beef with each other, or something's going on. Basically, no one's copacetic, no one's having a good time, everyone's kind of on each other's nerves or ready to ice the other person. It's kind of a mess. So our hero, he sees this wolf pack, and these wolves are huge. Like, remember Twilight? The big, how almost silly big the werewolves were in Twilight? That's kind of how big these wolves are here. Way more majestic, though. Anyway, he sees this pack of wolves, and he sees a girl with them. So the story kind of winds around a little bit, but eventually ends up, he uses this girl to kind of connect him into finding out where the forest spirit is. I know I'm paraphrasing a lot, and Princess Mononoke scholars are probably screaming at me right now, but I don't want to give anything away. I will say there are some great action set pieces in this movie. There's some great colors in this movie. It's just masterpiece after masterpiece. Every scene is like another glorious painting. It is drawn so beautifully. The big theme throughout this film is definitely the environment. We've seen that thread kind of being woven through many of these Japanese films, but it doesn't stop there for this film. There's also the themes of sexuality and disability and industrialization. They do it very well. It's some of it's very overt and some of it's kind of subtle, but they tie it up pretty well together in the end. But the major linchpin here is definitely the environment piece. And it's because, the world's changing, and it's because the world is changing why these different factions are at each other's throats, sometimes literally. And it's about unity and getting over our differences to work together, or at least come together in compromise, in agreement, because the change isn't stopping. So they might as well band together. And this is not really the best for kids either. It's not like Ghost in the Shell. It's not very graphic. Well, there are some graphic parts in this movie. It's PG-13. There's heavier violence in this movie. Like I said, not as heavy as Ghost in the Shell, but there's definitely some scenes in there that little ones probably shouldn't see. If they're like 10, 12 and on up, it'll be fine. Either way, I definitely recommend Princess Mononoke. It's a great watch. Watch it twice. Watch it again. I kind of want to come back to this world because I really like these characters. I liked how they kind of connected and interchanged with each other. It is also available on HBO Max right now. I'm going to give Princess Mononoke an A. Okay, last one. We made it. We're here. We're at the end. And as promised, we had one Disney film and we had one DC animated film. And this DC animated film isn't like a heavier one like, Flashpoint Paradox or Assault on Arkham, which I've seen both of those, and those are both fantastic films. You should check those out, by the way. Those are very good films. Nope, to close out Animation Week, we have Teen Titans Go to the Movies. So this was easily the silliest movie of the week, but it's Teen Titans. I didn't really have high expectations for this movie as far as like serious themes and weighty subject matter, because it's Teen Titans. It's not even just Teen Titans, it's Teen Titans Go. And if you're familiar with the properties, DC properties, Teen Titans is like more like bigger kid. It's still kid stuff, but it's bigger kid. And Teen Titans Go is a safe babysitter type cartoon that's fine for every age. My daughter really likes this movie. She loves this movie. She loves Teen Titans Go. So I figured, what the heck, I stacked this week with really heavy stuff. Why not end it with something a little more digestible, easy to kind of just sit through, some popcorn and some soda and stuff. And I love all these characters. I love Starfire and Robin and Beast Boy and Cyborg. And this movie delivered on what I expected. It's got a very basic plot, very simple setup. So the little Teen Titans fancy themselves as superheroes, but they're really just kind of being silly, letting the bad guys get away or get the better of them, while the Justice League actually comes in and saves the day. And the opening scene alone was it really helped set the tone for the rest of the film if you weren't sure what you're getting yourself into. So Robin, our Teen Titans leader, he becomes disheartened because he wants a superhero movie for himself. By the way, this movie is full of meta humor. It's meta humor on crack. It is so many jabs and jokes to the DC universe, Teen Titans, Batman, the Justice League, all those bigger movies, the bigger stories and characters. There's little funny jabs all throughout this film, and those are mostly in there for, I think, for the adults to enjoy. But I won't spoil what those are. But I'll let you, if you get around to seeing it yourself, you'll see what I'm talking about. But this movie, it's so dumb. I mean, it's funny, but it's really dumb. Robin's just, he's bummed out. He wants his own movie. Batman has his own movie. All these other people have their own movie. There's a few more jokes about that whole bit in this movie as well. And so he decides, well, I need to get an arch nemesis. I have to get this. I have to get that. I have to get fill out this checklist to be taken seriously as a superhero, and then I'll get my movie. And that's basically the point of this movie. It's there's some time travel involved. There's lots of threads and connecting touch points to other DC properties and characters, and it's just this really long Teen Titans Go episode, kind of stretched out, and it accomplishes what it set out to do. Will I go out of my way to go see it again? Probably not. I like the animated films DC's put out way more than the live action ones, for that matter. But this is definitely not a movie I'd recommend for my friends, but for my friends' kids. It's very cute, very fun. I wonder if I should see the other movie though, the Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go. Maybe. I rented this movie off of Amazon Prime, but it's also on Vudu and Apple. I think everything's on Apple also, or Vudu. So pick your poison. So Teen Titans Go gets a B. So that wraps up week 1. So far, so good. I think my biggest takeaway from this week has been, let's not be so dismissive of animated films, especially ones we haven't seen, or if they're from a different country. This definitely has broadened my horizons as far as the world of animation is concerned, and that's the whole point of this challenge, is to see what else is out there. All my preconceived notions about what I thought animation from Japan or anime was, it's gone. I have a whole new respect for the work they make, especially Studio Ghibli. Every movie this week was amazing. Most of them were. Almost all of them were. But my favorite of the week is gonna go to Spirited Away. I think Only Yesterday is right behind it, but Spirited Away just it wins, hands down. If I could recommend another animated movie, not on this list that I watched this week, that's not Disney or whatever, it would be Persepolis. That is a great film. It's this French-Persian autobiographic tale. It's really good. It's very powerful, and it kind of made me cry a couple times. It was just very, very deep, and I highly recommend that one too. So if you're interested in more animated films that aren't, common or mainstream, Persepolis is definitely one you should check out. And before we completely walk away from animation, we will go back to animation later in the year. There's another week dedicated to animation. But in the meantime, what do you recommend I watch? What are some animated films, now that you've seen what I just watched, what are some films that you would recommend to me to watch next? Let me know, put in the comments, message me, whatever it is. Let me know. So that was week 1. Thanks for hanging out with me and listening to me go on about the ones I've seen. Next week is the 1930s. So I'm going to hop into a time machine, go back almost 90 years, and there's quite a few classics that I think are going to be really good to watch, really fun. I've heard lots of great things about them. So stay tuned for next week for the 1930s. So if you like this video and you like what I'm doing and you're having a great time watching me go on this journey, please like, subscribe, all that kind of fun YouTube stuff. You can follow me and find me on social media at BSP Film Podcast. I'm also doing the podcast besides doing YouTube, so come check me out on Spotify and Apple as well. And thanks for stopping by. I hope you really enjoyed this first week, this first video, and there's more to come, so stay tuned. And that about does it for this week. So until next time, take care, guys.